Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. Coming at you with some Kashtira. Decided to give the deck a little bit of a try now that Fenrir is back at 3. We're going to start with a mirror match here. Now, full disclosure, I was a little bit anxious about taking this deck to ranked ladder, so I just did my testing in casual mode, because honestly, I felt like if I took it to ranked, it was just going to tank my ranking, because I don't have a lot of faith in this deck, I'll be honest with you, but we got some pretty good back and forth games here nevertheless. So here we're going to Ash Blossom their Fulos at the start, and then Pathfinder for Raitsoth. Raitsoth is going to end up adding the Unicorn. Now here is the Kashtira Unicorn special summon. However, our opponent is going to end up using the Imperm on it, which is really annoying because now I can't obviously go for Kashtira Theosis, and that's going to stop me from going into like my full combo here. But I can still special summon Rise Heart, banishing Fenrir, and the top 3 from their deck face down. Now we can go Birth, activate Birth in order to summon Fenrir, and then we're going to activate Fenrir in order to add Scare Cash. I did have a little bit of a choice here as to whether I was going to make the Arise Heart or the Shangri-Era, and I actually decided to go with the Era. Now, granted, the Arise Heart is a walking macrocosmos that also has the ability to target a card on the field and banish it face down, but I felt a lot better ending on Era plus Fenrir for a couple of reasons. One, this ends on multiple points of interaction as opposed to the Arise Heart's one, where we can go Fenrir banish as well as Unicorn extra deck rip or whatever we summon off of the Era. On top of that, we have Era zone blocking to interact with the opponent as well. I also felt like this end board was going to be a lot less susceptible to pretty much anything that is not only a board breaker, but happens to negate, bounce, spin, destroy a card. Because Kashtira Rise Heart has absolutely no protection on it whatsoever. There are so many ways that my opponent could very easily deal with this. So I'm just going to set the Super Poly and then pass right back over to them. Now here we're going to go Standby Phase Era. Our opponent's going to use their Ash Blossom though, so no Unicorn for us. Not that I think the Unicorn Extra Grip would do a ton here, because I imagine they're on multiple copies of both Era and Arise Heart. Okay, they're going to go Extrav and then draw 2. We're going to use Era to block out one of their zones. They're going to special summon Fenrir and battle in order to banish our Fenrir, in order to make sure, of course, that we are not stopping their plays. Then they're going to go Fenrir for a Rise Heart, as well as Thrust for Theosis. Now, Theosis gets to activate, targeting the Fenrir to special their Unicorn from deck. I'm going to use the Birth effect at this point to banish the Theosis out of their graveyard so they can't reuse it later, and then we can block another one of their zones with Era. Here they're going to go Unicorn F. I can also use Raitsoth to pop the Fenrir. I want to pop this Fenrir. I don't want it to be on the field going into my turn because I really don't want them to banish my Shangri-Era. Okay, they're going to go Unicorn for Birth. And now they're going to overlay using just Unicorn in order to make the Arise Heart. Because the thing about Arise Heart is that it says once per turn, you can also exceed summon Kashtira Arise Heart by using one Kashtira monster you control if an effect of Shangri-Era was successfully activated this turn. But note the wording, it does not have to be your Shangri-Era. It just says if an effect of Kashtira Shangri-Era was successfully activated this turn. So, because I used my Era, my opponent's able to go into their Arise Heart. They don't have 3 materials on it yet, though, so they can't banish my Era. They're going to go Birth for Fenrir, special summon Rise Heart, activate in order to banish Scare Cash and 3 of my cards. Now they get 1 more material, but still not enough to banish my Era. And they're going to overlay next into Dark Armed the Dragon of Annihilation. I was so hoping it was either going to be this or Big Eye. I was really worried they would just go for their own Era here, because now that they have summoned Dark Armed along with the Arise Heart, I can flip up Super Poly, finally. Super Poly is not really useful against Kashtira a lot of the time because of how many different attributes they have, but now that they finally have 2 Dark Monsters, I can make a Mud Dragon of the Swamp, so that's going to end up doing it for the opponent. They're going to concede after that because, of course, starting my next standby phase, Era can summon out another monster, and then I have Birth as well to keep my plays rolling. Would be very easy to find lethal, I think, after that. So there's our first game, winning the mirror match. Let's take a look at this next duel. Now for this game, we're going to be going second up against DDD. Haven't played against this deck in quite some time, but it's still a pretty decent, I think, rogue deck in the current meta. And they are going to get to really pop off here. They're going to go full combo, because as you can see, we didn't open any hand traps. However, we did open the super poly, so we have that going for us at the very least. Excuse me. On top of that, we have a lot of engine here. The Rate Soft, the Search, as well as Unicorn and Theosis. But unfortunately, not a lot in the way of actually stopping them from making plays. I do play a decent amount of hand traps in this build. I think I've got 13, 12, 13, somewhere in that range, on top of the 3 super polys for just helping me go second. So in a perfect world, this Ogre would have been like, you know, Maxi or Fuelos or Ash Blossom or something, but we'll make do. Yeah, they're just kind of popping off with their combo line here. Yeah, no, like I mentioned, I end up playing these games in casual mode because even being in like mid-plat right now, I have no faith in this deck actually like getting, you know, 3 decent back and forth duels without just completely tanking my rating and going back down to plat 5. I think Fenrir to 3 was completely fine, mostly for this reason. The fact that Fenrir is an interesting engine that you can use in a lot of different decks, but doesn't really break Kashtira itself. And Kashtira is in a spot where it's been long power crept. I mean, if you think about it, the deck is still... I can't really call it full power because Diablosis, or whatever it was called, is of course still banned, and well should be. That version of Kashtira is just disgustingly good. And mostly disgustingly good at zone blocking and extra deck ripping. But when I say full power, I think even if you put Unicorn and Pressured Planet Rates off at 3 right now, I cannot imagine Kashtira being any higher than tier 3 at the absolute most. Just because, again, you know, the weaknesses of the deck at the end of the day are going to be consistency. I think even with all those cards at 3, it still has just fewer starters than a lot of other meta decks right now. And moreover, the lack of protection against board breakers or anything that destroys a card. I mean, Shangri-Ira's got its protection effect, but that's literally it. Now, I was definitely worried about this Caesar being water. I'm not able to super poly it away. So I am still going to have to deal with that. But as far as like the Siegfried and then... what else did they summon here? The Ragnarok, I think it's called. Those, on the other hand, I can just, like I said, use the Super Poly. Okay, they add Dark Contract with the Witch. Which I don't think is very often played, but it's Deus Machinax. That's the one I was trying to think of. But I am going to have to deal with that. That can pop my cards and also buffs their monsters. Right on time, Fuelos. Okay. I'm going to lead with Special Summon Unicorn as long as I control no monsters, and then Super Poly away the Siegfried and Machinax in order to summon the Garura. Now at this point we're going to go for the Rate Soth. They're going to chain the Ash Blossom from hand. I don't really have any hopes of pushing through my opponent's entire board, but I think I can get through at least most of it. So I want to see if I can make them use as many resources as possible. Gonna banish the Dimensional King in order to make sure they can't OT Chaos on the next turn. We go to add with Unicorn, but they're going to activate the Imperm. And of course, if I Theosis, they're just going to use Caesar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Garura plus Unicorn into SP Little Knight. That way I can not only banish the Caesar with Little Knight, but I get a draw off the Garura as well. And if they activate another card or effect here, I can chain Little Knight, my board will be clear again, which would let me keep comboing. But they don't use any effects, so I'm going to go into the Typhone instead. We're going to go into battle phase, but yeah, the Dark Contract ends up buffing them. So here I made a huge misplay. I just totally blanked on Typhone blocking me out of summons. I was like, oh yeah, I can battle and then go into... And then not even 2 seconds later, I'm like immediately, oh yeah, Typhone, can't summon anymore. Unfortunately, Typhone can't really end up bouncing either because of... one of these cards is giving target protection. Which one is it? I feel like it's gotta be one of these cards, right? Maybe I'm misremembering. I feel like I wasn't able to target this with the Typhone effect. I could be misremembering that. Oh well, either way. Let's see here. They're going to end up using the Dark Contract. Oh, they're taking the 1,000 damage. Then they use the Dark Contract with the gate. Yeah, even if I was able to use Typhoon to bounce their Link 3, I don't think it really changed any of my opponent's follow-up here. Of course, the Typhoon would stop their monsters with 3k or more attack, but they're going to have plenty of ability to combo beyond those effects. Alright, Siegfried's revived. They're going to pop my field spell, which is totally fine, doesn't really matter anymore. They're going to summon the Doombright Armageddon, as well as using the Machinex and Ragnarok effect in order to Pendulum Summon. Or I guess it's not really an effect, you know what I mean. Now, at some point, I'm not really sure which effect it is. Is it the Gilgamesh? At some point, they use an effect that halves all the battle damage they do this turn. I'm trying to remember which one that was. I'm not going to remember. But either way, they're not able to finish me off. However, their board is still going to look very, very scary. Right on time, Max C. We're going to special summon the Fenrir. Our opponent's going to use their own Max C. And again, not able to target their board, so they're monsters anyway. They've got an Impulse for the Theosis as well, which at this point, my only hope is to try to summon Titanic Moth, which I'm on in my extra because I don't play Extrav, because I only have 2 Arise Heart and I don't want to craft a 3rd one. So I'm on Titanic Moth to be able to go into Zeus, but it's just not going to be possible, unfortunately. We can add Unicorn then special it after they pop, but they still have the Machinex effect here. And as we go into Birth, they're going to use the Siegfried, so I can't extra normal summon or revive. Yeah, there's just no shot of me being able to make the Titanic Moth here. So I'll just pass over to their turn, and it's going to end up being a loss for us. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Kashtira, it struggles. I think even if I'd had a hand trap there, I still would have struggled decently in this game. Because with modern DDD combo lines, one Ash Blossom or Imperm typically isn't enough to stop them. Although maybe I could have stopped like the Caesar and then Super Poly the rest of their board. That's all woulda, coulda, shoulda though, of course. So yeah, I think at this point we're just going to have to move on to our last game and take the L on this one. Okay, this last duel is just more funny than anything else because I ran across a Gren Maju deck. Probably like the one deck out there that wants to banish cards as much as Kashtira. But we're going to show Gren Maju just which is the real banish deck here. Now, unfortunately, we don't really open that many good starters. They're going to set a monster before activating Duality. I was like, okay, I'm going to Ash Blossom here because I don't feel like they're going to search enough for Droll to be worth it before setting another card and then passing. Okay, going into my turn, I'm going to end up setting 2 cards and passing as well. They're going to use Present card, which makes me discard my hand to draw 5 cards, question mark? They had a few of these trap cards that force your opponent to draw cards. I don't know, like, if it's a deck out thing or what that really has to do with Gren Maju, but okay, sure, my opponent unbricked my hand for me. And if you actually look at the cards I drew, well, I guess to be fair, it doesn't show you the order they were drawn in. I was going to say, oh, look, it would have been until, like, this long until I actually drew a play, but this could have been the top card of my deck for all I knew. Anyway, our hand is unbricked thanks to our opponent, and they're going to go for the Eater of Millions here before going for Desires and drawing a couple of cards that way. Then using Reload, really looking for that Gren Maju, also flipping up the Greed Jar. There's the Gren Maju, they get to add that to hand. And I don't know really what's going on here, why they didn't battle or why they didn't use their normal summon, because they should still have it, right? Eater of Millions doesn't really stop you from battling, no. Obviously Desires, Extrav, Reload don't really do that, so I was like, okay. Okay, now we can finally go full combo though. We're going to go 7th Tachyon for Planet Pathfinder, putting back the Fulos, of course, normal summon Planet Pathfinder. Let's tribute in order to go for the Pressured Planet Raitsoth. We're going to activate that next, adding the Kashtira Unicorn, and then we can special summon. Unicorn F is going to add Birth because we already have Theosis. We're going to activate Birth, and then the Theosis. Theosis is going to summon out the Fenrir by targeting Unicorn. Fenrir F is going to add Scare Cash. We can special summon Rise Heart by its own effect, banishing an Olgar, and in the top 3 of their deck. Birth is going to revive the Ogre, and we can also not only add Big Bang, but still summon the Scareclaw Kashtira too. Although I think pretty much no matter how you slice it, I'm not able to quite find lethal. It's close no matter what, because obviously Scarecash can attack in defense mode, but Fenrir can't. So if I overlaid Fenrir and Riseheart, I can make like Dark Armed? But that can't pop a card and a battle. I'd have to battle and then pop a card. Big Eye can steal a monster, but then it can't battle. Oh, you know what though? I think that would have been correct though. Because if I had Big Eye and stolen Greed Jar, I'd lose Fire, but still have... But I gain Dark, so I'd still have the same number of attributes. Oh, no, not Greed Jar. Sorry, steal Eater of Millions, and then battle over Greed Jar. I think if I had made Big Eye, that actually would have been lethal here, but we definitely still need to use Scarecash to battle over the Eater of Millions if we're not going to steal it, so that way it can't use its effect. Oh, but no, it doesn't have to be Scarecash, right? It's any Kashtira monster. Never mind. So we're going to leave them at 700, and I was like, screw it, I'll just make a Riseheart. I know they're just going to normal summon Gren Maju and go to battle phase, so yeah, I'll just wait for that and then activate, and they're going to concede. So, again, more of a funny game, I guess, than anything else. In a lot of ways, Gren Maju is like one of our bad matchups, but thankfully here we were able to still come out on top. Okay, let me show you the deck list and then we'll finish off. Okay, so here is my updated Kashtira list. There's a ton of different engines and off-engine stuff that you could tech, but for this list, I decided to go for 7th Tachyon, revealing number 106 Giant Hand, an Earth rank 4, which in turn would allow me to search for Planet Pathfinder. Planet Pathfinder can then be normal summoned and attributed to go for Raitsoth. Raitsoth adds Unicorn, and then we can go into full combo. If you really wanted to, you could play the Battle Unboxer rank 4 to be able to 7th Tachyon for Riseheart, but like, we're already playing 3 Riseheart, and it's already searchable by other stuff like Fenrir, and it's really not so important that I feel the need to, use an extra deck slot for the search target. I mean, that said, the extra deck is wide open, especially if you're not on Extrav, which again, the main reason I'm not playing Pot of Extravagance is because I only own 2 Riseheart, and I don't want to craft a 3rd. If you're going to play Extrav, you really should be on 3 Kashtira Riseheart and Shangri Era as well. Another consistency boosting card that you could use is Pot of Desires. Pot of Desires, because we're playing a lot of 3-ofs, including the Fenrir, which is now at 3 of course, does end up being actually not that bad in this deck. Banishing like both of your unicorns is pretty rough, but I don't know, at some point you have to decide if it's a risk you want to take or not. As far as off-engine, we're playing Super Poly, because like I said, without Extrav, we have a ton of room in the extra, more than enough for our designated Super Poly targets. I'm also only on 2 Birth. I do kind of wish I was on a 3rd one in hindsight. You really only need the 2, but there were a lot of hands where the 3rd one would have been nice. What else do we have here in the extra deck? Baron de Fleur looks weird, but we have all these 7s that can special themselves, and it's like, why not just be able to normal summon Ash Blossom and make it in certain situations, right? Big Eye can steal, Titanic Moth can attack directly to go into Zeus, Dark Armed Pops cards, and then of course Typhone and Little Knight are pretty standard extra deck staples if you've got the room. We're a shifter deck, so that's pretty good, we got that going for us. Obviously the meta, as it tends to be, is very graveyard reliant. And in theory, that does also make a Riseheart pretty solid as well with its Floodgate effect, but again, in practice, I think this card is really weak. I think this deck is really weak, and even with Fenrir back at 3, I really don't think it's anything to be scared of. Now, because Metamorphosis came off of the same ban list here as Fenrir, there are people who have talked about going into Last Warrior from Another Planet off of Metamorphosis on any of your level 7 Kashtira monsters, which is also a Floodgate in and of itself that says neither player can summon monsters. And while that is a much scarier Floodgate than a Riseheart, it still kind of has the same weakness of like literally any board breaker or card that negates or destroys answers it. And also, you would have to summon this later in your combo line, or else this is going to be the only thing on your end board, which is not the most confident, inspiring thing, I guess. If my end board was only Last Warrior from Another Planet against the average meta deck, I'd be a little bit anxious, more than a little bit anxious, about their ability to push through it. And on top of that, you still need to actually hard draw the Metamorphosis because it's not part of the Kashtira archetype or any archetype. It's not searchable. So it's not even something you can guarantee you'll be able to do every single combo line. And I think all those factors kind of make Kashtira, with or without Metamorphosis, honestly, really just kind of weak still in the current metagame. I don't see this deck being much better than Rogue, but that's all I had to say about it for now. Thank you, as always, for watching. Super appreciate you. Let's go ahead and move on to our outro so we can thank our YouTube members and Patreon subscribers. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which, by the way, is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.